Chigozie grew up in the small village of Umuofia, where his family barely scraped by. His father was a poor farmer, and his mother sold akara by the roadside. The other children mocked him for wearing the same torn clothes and never having a kobo to spend at the market. He often sat by the river, dreaming of a future where he would never lack. The taunts, the hunger, and the feeling of helplessness burned within him, fueling his ambition. At 16, he left Umuofia, vowing never to return until he had wealth beyond measure. In the bustling city of Lagos, Chigozie took on menial jobs, cleaning, hawking, and later, assisting in a motor parts shop. His hard work caught the eye of a wealthy businessman, Mr. Dyke, who took him under his wing. Through determination and an unyielding spirit, Chigozie learned the intricacies of the trade, saving every naira he could. Years passed, and he built a thriving importation business, amassing wealth beyond what he ever imagined. Yet, something was missing. The money, the cars, and the luxurious life in Lagos did not fill the void within him. Then he remembered his vow to return home not as a poor boy, but as a man of influence. The day Chigozie returned to Umuofia, the entire village buzzed with excitement. The poor boy who once had nothing now arrived in a convoy of black SUVs, his presence commanding attention. Women gossiped in hushed tones, children ran beside the vehicles, and the men of the village watched with mixed emotions. Some admired him, others envied him, but all acknowledged that he had become a man of wealth. He stepped out, dressed in rich embroidered fabric, gold adorning his wrist. His first visit was to his aging mother, who wept tears of joy at seeing her son transformed. He built her a grand house, sparing no expense. The villagers watched in awe as he donated generously to the community, repairing broken roads and providing electricity. However, despite his wealth, some elders whispered that money alone did not make a man great. Chigozie brushed off their words, believing that his riches would earn him the respect and admiration he had long craved. It wasn't until he set his sights on Adanna, the chief's daughter, that he realized wealth had its limits. Adanna was the jewel of Umuofia. Beautiful, intelligent, and well-spoken, she was admired by many. When Chigozie expressed his desire to marry her, he expected the chief to welcome him with open arms. After all, he was now the wealthiest man in the village. But Chief Okonkwo was unimpressed. "A man is not measured by his wealth alone," the chief said. "You left Umuofia as a boy, but did you return as a man of character?" Chigozie was taken aback. He had spent years accumulating riches, yet the chief questioned his worthiness. The rejection stung, but it also ignited a determination in him. He had won in business, but could he win in life? He vowed to prove himself, not just to the chief but to the entire village. His journey of self-discovery had only begun. Determined to prove his worth, Chigozie sought counsel from the village elders. They challenged him to immerse himself in the community and understand the struggles of the people. He was tasked with funding a farming initiative and mentoring the village youth. Initially reluctant, Chigozie soon found himself appreciating the values he had once ignored: hard work, humility, and patience. His efforts did not go unnoticed. The villagers began to see beyond his wealth, recognizing the sincerity in his actions. Adanna, too, observed the change in him, though she remained cautious. She admired his resolve but knew that true transformation took time. Chief Okonkwo, still skeptical, warned Chigozie that mere acts of charity would not be enough. He had to show genuine growth in character. Chigozie's newfound humility was put to the test when an old rival, Obi, emerged. Once a childhood adversary, Obi had always looked down on Chigozie, even in their younger years. Now a respected farmer, Obi questioned Chigozie's intentions, accusing him of trying to buy the village's respect. His words stung, but Chigozie resisted the urge to retaliate. He realized that wealth had once been his shield, but now, he had to rely on integrity. Despite Obi's skepticism, Chigozie continued his journey of self-improvement. He spent time learning the traditions of Umuofia, engaging in communal farming, and listening to the stories of the elders. He realized that true leadership was not about commanding respect but earning it through service and understanding. The chief watched silently, evaluating his every move. As the annual festival of honor approached, Chigozie was invited to take part in the wrestling contest, a tradition that symbolized strength and unity. Though hesitant, he accepted, knowing that this was another opportunity to prove his commitment to the village. His match against Obi was intense, drawing the entire community to watch. Despite his lack of experience, Chigozie fought bravely, refusing to back down even when overpowered. Though he did not win, his resilience earned him the respect of many. Chief Okonkwo acknowledged his effort, telling him, "You have begun to understand what it means to be a man of Umuofia." Adanna, too, saw him in a new light, appreciating his willingness to grow. But the journey was far from over, greater challenges lay ahead. Chigozie's contributions to the village continued, but as he grew closer to the people, he became more aware of their struggles. The irrigation system was failing, education was lacking, and the villagers still relied on outdated farming methods. Realizing that true leadership required action, he devised a plan to modernize farming techniques and provide scholarships for young children. However, his plans were met with resistance from some elders who feared change. "Our ancestors lived this way, and we have survived," one elder argued. Chigozie faced a dilemma: how could he honor tradition while bringing progress? Adanna advised him to seek wisdom from the oldest member of the village, Neka, who had seen generations come and go. Neka told him, "Change is like the river, it must flow, but it must also respect the land." With her guidance, Chigozie devised a strategy to introduce gradual change, ensuring that the elders felt included in the decisions. Slowly, the village began to trust him, not just for his wealth but for his vision. Chigozie's transformation impressed many, but he still had to win Adanna's heart. She was no longer indifferent to him, but she remained cautious. "I need to know you for who you are, not just what you own," she told him. Chigozie decided to court her in the traditional way, seeking guidance from his mother and the elders. He performed acts of service for her family, learning to weave baskets and assisting in village tasks. As they spent time together, Adanna saw glimpses of the boy Chigozie once was, kind, determined, and full of dreams. But just as their bond deepened, an unexpected challenge arose. A suitor from another village, the noble and well-respected Ikin, arrived to seek Adanna's hand in marriage. Would Chigozie's transformation be enough, or would Adanna choose a man with a history of honor over a man still proving himself? Ikin's arrival sent waves of discussion through Umuofia. He was from a neighboring village and was known for his wisdom and leadership. Unlike Chigozie, he had been raised in a traditional household and had spent his entire life serving his people. His reputation for kindness and fairness preceded him, making him an ideal suitor for Adanna. Chief Okonkwo welcomed him warmly, and the elders respected his presence. Chigozie, feeling threatened, tried to suppress his jealousy. He reminded himself that he had worked hard to change, but doubts crept into his mind. Could Adanna ever choose him over a man with such a strong legacy? Rather than acting out of anger, he sought guidance from his mother. "If you truly love her," she advised, "then you must fight, not with wealth or pride, but with the sincerity of your heart." Chief Okonkwo, recognizing the tension between the two suitors, decided that they should each complete a task that would prove their worth. The challenge was simple: they would each contribute to the village in a way that would leave a lasting impact. Whoever demonstrated true leadership and service would earn the chief's approval. Ikin immediately began working on improving the village's irrigation system, using his knowledge of farming to ensure better crop yields. Chigozie, after much thought, chose to focus on education. He established a small school, hiring teachers to provide basic literacy and numeracy skills to the village children. He also worked with artisans to create apprenticeship programs. As weeks passed, the village watched both men closely. Some admired Ikin's practical approach, while others were impressed by Chigozie's vision for the future. The chief remained silent, waiting to see who would truly make a difference. Adanna, torn between the two men, observed them closely. She admired Ikin's humility and wisdom, but she could not deny the growth she had seen in Chigozie. One evening, she confided in her mother, expressing her uncertainty. "Ikin is everything a husband should be," she said. "But Chigozie has shown a willingness to change, to grow." Her mother smiled knowingly. Marriage is not about perfection, it is about choosing the one who will keep striving to be better. Adanna took those words to heart. She decided to follow her own feelings, knowing that love was more than just reputation, it was about who truly understood her heart. Just as the village prepared for the chief's final decision, disaster struck. A fire broke out in the village, destroying several homes, including that of an elderly widow named Umuofia. Without hesitation, Chigozie and Ikin both rushed to help, organizing people to put out the flames. After the fire was contained, Chigozie quietly used his own money to rebuild Umofio's home, ensuring that she had everything she needed. Ikin, on the other hand, mobilized the villagers to form a fire prevention committee, ensuring such an incident wouldn't happen again. Both men had shown leadership, but their approaches were different. Chief Okonkwo observed their actions carefully, realizing that the time had come to make a decision. But before he could, Adanna stepped forward and made her own choice. In a gathering before the entire village, Adanna spoke. "Both of these men have proven themselves worthy," she said. "They have served Umuofia and shown true character. But my heart belongs to the one who has walked a journey of growth, who understands not only leadership but also love." She turned to Chigozie. "I choose you." The village erupted in both celebration and murmurs. Ikin, though disappointed, accepted her decision with grace. He turned to Chigozie and said, "You have earned her love. Take care of her." With that, he bowed to the chief and left Umuofia, his heart heavy but his pride intact. Chigozie, overwhelmed with emotion, realized that all his wealth had not won Adanna, it was his transformation, his willingness to grow. As he held her hand, he vowed never to stop striving to be a better man. Preparations for the wedding began immediately. The entire village joined in the festivities, celebrating the union of Chigozie and Adanna. Chief Okonkwo, though still stunned, finally smiled at Chigozie and said, "You have proven yourself worthy, not just of my daughter, but of this village." The wedding was a grand affair, filled with music, dance, and feasting. But for Chigozie, the real celebration was knowing that he had found something more valuable than wealth, love, respect, and a true sense of belonging. As he looked into Adanna's eyes, he knew that his journey was not over. There would be more challenges ahead, but with her by his side, he was ready to face them all. Years later, Chigozie continued to serve Umuofia, balancing his business in Lagos with his responsibilities in the village. He and Adanna raised their children with the values of hard work, humility, and service. The village school grew, and the farms flourished under the modern techniques he had introduced. One evening, as he sat with Chief Okonkwo, now an old man, the chief smiled and said, "You left as a boy and returned as a man. Not because of your wealth, but because of your heart." Chigozie nodded, understanding that true wealth was not measured in gold or land, but in love, respect, and the legacy one left behind.